See, a lot was said at that time. Some people said Imran Khan, there was a good gesture from Imran Khan's side for bringing peace and all that. But I think it was a big hogwash. They had to ultimately release our pilot, our soldier, Wing Cdr Abhinandan, because they had no other choice. They were cornered actually at that time. And right now we get this news that Pakistan was saying that, in case we do not, that India will strike us real hard, which we would have in any case. So they were actually, what my reading was, they were under a lot of pressure as it is, and they had no option but to release him, and they tried playing that to their advantage. They are being too smart. I will tell you one thing. Pakistan, who is he, 2 days back, Imran Khan, to write to Facebook saying what is going on in our country, it's an internal matter. About 2 weeks back, General Bajwa, Pakistan's government said they are planning to renovate Dilip Kumar's house and Raj Kapoor's house, and they make a museum over there. What they are looking at was some support, some tweet goes in from some Indian, and which will work against India's favor. So Pakistan had to release a soldier. They will try giving 1,000 excuses, but that is a country which is not to be trusted. Pakistan and China both are neighboring nations, and as they say, good senses make good neighbors. But here, this nation is a total shameless nation, I would say. And they definitely were under pressure, so that's why they released him.
Right, and what kind of situation does this expose as far as Pakistan is concerned and, their stance is concerned?
It just shows the true face of Pakistan. It just shows that this nation will do something, will talk something and do something. It will never live up to its word. And in 1999, what happened? All the infiltrators who had entered into India, when we discovered a military identity card with them, we got to know what Pakistan was doing, which we already knew. But here it was proved. They were all Pakistani military personnel who had entered into India in civil dress. So basically, who is promoting terrorism in Pakistan? It is the Pakistan military. And it is the Pakistan military which rules the roost, not the Prime Minister over there, not the government. A couple of days back, civil war in the Sindh province of Pakistan. Imagine if the military lifts up an IGP of police. You can imagine the morale of the troops of the police over there, and they were fighting between the police and the army. I think that would be the only nation in the world where the police fights, the army fights against each other, and the militants, the insurgents, sit and watch the fun. So it definitely reflects a very poor picture on Pakistan. Pakistan, this country, which is already in debt, they were already in grey area, almost blacklisted from FATF. US was withdrawing support because President Trump said that, okay, we put in our money and they go and kill our soldiers in Afghanistan. Such a thing will not be done. Because, when Osama bin Laden, for example, when the Afghan-Russian war was on, he was only a mujahid, the holy warrior, so to say. He was backed by America. But on 11 September 2001, what did Osama bin Laden do? He turned around and attacked America. So similarly, when you harbor a snake, you have to be careful. It will turn around and bite you itself. So Pakistan is that nation which is really promoting terrorism. I'll give an example of Maulana Masood Azhar. He has got red collar notices, Interpol notices. It's been proved. On 9th March 2019, there was this big meeting in the UN Assembly where there was a proposal to declare him as a global terrorist. China, as usual, put its foot down. And China said no, he would not be declared a global terrorist because China is a permanent member of UN. India is a temporary member. And this China, who all the time puts pokes their nose and makes sure that India does not become a permanent member, whereas India is a maximum contributor to UN. Let me tell you this as well. It took us months to declare Maulana Masood Azhar as a global terrorist after that. So definitely Pakistan and China are two nations which are not to be trusted, and they have connived together to work against the interest of India.
It was a good-natured gesture that they were releasing the IAF pilot. Was that just a cover-up of the whole situation and the deteriorating conditions of the country?
Absolutely, yes. It was a big hogwash because, as I said earlier, they had no option, but they had to release Wing Commander Abhinandan. And hats off to the bravery, hats off to the calmness. If you saw the videos of Wing Commander Abhinandan in Pakistan custody, hats off to the way he conducted himself over there. This speaks volumes of the training of our Indian Defence Forces. This speaks volumes of our fighter pilots who are trained that in case you crash drop in the enemy territory, how you should deal with that situation. If you remember, this line has become very popular. I am not supposed to tell you that. Anything the Pakistani would ask him, he would give the required information for which he was trained to give. Thereafter, he would say, I'm not supposed to tell you that. He was totally fearless. In 1971, we had captured 95,000 of Pakistani prisoners of war. They had taken 56 prisoners of war from India. Till today, the 56 people are known as the missing 56. Their families have written to the Red Cross Society, their families have written to the UN, but they are not traceable even till today. Some say some died in Pakistani custody, some are still rotting over there in Pakistani prison. I mean, it is really mad. And whereas we release all 95,000 of them with full military honors, including their smallest possessions with them. Now, the world can see it. India is a peace-loving nation. We didn't want to escalate anything. In fact, we believe a soldier should be given his due respect and treated accordingly. Come on, Indian soldiers in 1999 in Kargil, we dug the graves of the Pakistani soldiers and we buried them with full military honors. Why? Because Pakistan refused to accept the dead body of their soldiers. A nation which does not respect their soldiers, a nation which does not respect the sacrifice by its soldiers, what do you expect from that nation which doesn't even know how to strategize? Which just thinks it's getting too big for its boots. And they are incorrigible. They will not listen. They will not change.
Right. And what does this say about the country and its defense preparedness? You know, because they, of course, led on that they were ready for anything. However, this statement now coming in from Sadiq, who's an MP, is completely contrary to the fact.
See, Sun Tzu is a Chinese author. He wrote in his book called The Art of War. Chapter 3, paragraph 4, line 2. He said the acme of a military general is to win wars without fighting, which China is trying to do that. Pakistan, now let me come to them. It's a perception. Oh, they can use their nuclear power there. Let me tell you, they are not even half or quarter of our strength. Nothing. And we can give them a bloody nose, which we have done, which we did in 2016 after the Uri surgical strikes. We went inside the home and gave them a royal thrashing. Last year, 2019, our Air Force went across and gave them hell. So military preparedness of Pakistan, what do you expect from a nation which is under debt, which is fighting corona situation over there? The Prime Minister is constantly under fire. There's civil war happening over there. Have you ever heard of a nation where small school children are killed brutally? No. Have you heard of a nation which actually promotes terrorism, which harbors terrorism? No. Osama bin Laden, over 10 years after his famous attack at the Twin Towers, he was shielded by who? By the Pakistani military. But the US dared to bring in 4 helicopters and bombarded his hideout. So, the military preparedness of Pakistan, I don't think they're prepared, and neither do they have the guts to meddle with India. They really don't have. So, they cannot use the military methods. So, what they do is, They try getting in infiltrators. They try getting their military personnel in civil clothes and trying to promote terrorism in India. That is what Pakistan is doing. And let me tell you, these people are actually the true enemies of Islam. These are the people who are responsible for Islamophobia. Look at the country. It is like, People's Republic of Pakistan, right? India is a democratic republic. But there, the minorities are not treated in a good way. I'll give you an example of Danish Kaneria, the famous cricketer from Pakistan. His uncle was the wicket keeper when Imran Khan was a captain. He obviously had faced discrimination when he was a wicket keeper. So his next generation, that's Danish, it's a very Muslim-sounding name. So they named him Danish. Why? Because he obviously had seen discrimination at his time. And Danish Kaneria last year said he was discriminated in the team. So a nation which does not respect its own minorities, that nation is going to teach us how to come on, the biggest joke of the year actually, when Imran Khan writing to Mark Zuckerberg that, CAA protests are happening in India, the minorities in India are not treated well. Let me tell you one thing. I come from the minority side. I am Mohommed Ali Shah. What minorities can do in India, minorities cannot do this in any other nation. The kind of freedom of expression, the kind of, but yet, still they are protesting, which is fine. But let me tell you, Pakistan, a nation like Pakistan, which is totally shameless, and it is.